Alright, welcome to the video for learning target number 6 and 7. This will be our second to last video of the year, so we're on page 18, or at least it should be close to that for you. I don't know, it might be a little bit different, but regardless, we're on page 18, so get there now. Your two learning targets for today are learning target number 6, I can make a box plot from statistical data and interpret the data. So it's no different than making a dot plot, or it's no different than making a histogram. You're going to have to make one, and then you're going to have to be able to interpret what's going on with it. Okay? Now, along with that, and this is all going to be connected, you are going to be able to identify the 5-number summary and the interquartile range. And I'd like everybody to please write I, Q, R. Because interquartile range, I will write IQR for the most time. I'll probably even say IQR. Okay? But this goes hand in hand. The 5-number summary is what allows you to make your box plot. So listen up. A box plot is also known as a box and whisker plot. Maybe you've heard of a box and whisker plot. Well, it's the same thing. They've just gotten rid of the whisker part as far as the name goes. But again, if you guys call it a box and whisker plot, I'm not going to get mad at you. That's fine with me because it could also be called that name. It says ordered data are divided into a lower half and an upper half by the median. The median of the lower half is the lower quartile. The median of the upper half is the upper quartile. The lower extreme is the least data value, and the upper extreme is the greatest data value. The IQR of a data set is the difference of the upper and lower quartile. A lot of information going on there. Now, I don't expect you to understand what I just said in that paragraph because, quite frankly, it's a lot of words, and I'm more of a show-me kind of person. I think a lot of you are also. So let's just go through here. First of all, making a box and whisker plot. Let's go through. Okay, you can see what they got here. They're showing the total dietary fiber in grams per serving of 10 types of cereal is listed below. So this means these are your 10 types of cereal. This one has 1 gram of fiber. This has 10 grams of fiber, 1 gram of fiber, and then so on and so forth, okay? What we're going to do is we want to make a box and whisker plot, or just simply a box plot, based on that information, and then be able to interpret what it is. It's just, again, the reason we do this is because seeing just raw numbers like that doesn't do anything for us. Like, you can look at it, but it just doesn't help you. Whereas if you make some sort of visual display, such as a box plot or a histogram or something like that, it just helps you to be able to visualize and be able to be able to infer what you're seeing to make draw conclusions. Okay. In order to start, the first step you're always going to have to do when you are doing a box plot, step 1, go ahead and write this. Order numbers from least to greatest. You're going to have to order your numbers. So you can see they've already done this. There's all your data. They went ahead and did it. So there was one with 0 grams, and then so on and so forth again. Okay? Now, the first part to a box and whisker plot is the median. The median is the middle number, as you guys are well aware, which is the one where you go, okay, cross off smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, and then we have 2 in the middle, of course. Remember, we draw that line. We add them up and divide by 2. Okay? So that's why the median here is 3. So we know the middle of my box plot is going to be 3. Okay? Now, hopefully you didn't make all these crosses through there. I probably should have told you, but if you did, that's okay. Okay, hopefully you can still see the numbers. Now, So anyway, sorry about that. I had somebody at the door. What I was saying is we found our median. Okay, you guys all know how to find median. Now, we have something called a lower quartile, also known as everybody write this, Q1, quartile 1. Okay, and then we have an upper quartile, which is Q3. Okay, I could use these words interchangeably. So I might refer to this lower quartile as Q1, or I might call it the first quartile or something like that, or the lower quartile. Now, I know right now you guys are probably, your head is spinning because I'm throwing a lot of new words at you, and there's a lot going on here. It's not that difficult, I promise, but just try to stay with me. Okay? So, what the lower quartile is, and I'm going to write this over here. what Q1 or the lower quartile is. It is the median of the first half of numbers. Okay? And then we're going to keep going here. What the Q3 is, it is the median of the second half of numbers. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Let's hope we don't have any more interruptions. Okay, so again, the Q1, or the lower quartile, that is just the median of the first half of the numbers. The quartile 3, or upper quartile, that's your median of the second half of the numbers. So, what we're doing, we already found the median. We know the median was right here, and it was 3, because it's right directly between 3 and 3. So now, we have to find the median of the first half, or the lower half. Okay, I'll put first here, because that's the same as lower, and we'll call this the second half. Okay, and again, now we're just finding the median from here to here. So we cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. 1 is our first quartile, or our quartile 1. Okay, in the upper quartile, we got to find Q3, so that means we need to find the median of the second half of the numbers, or the upper half of the numbers. We cross off, cross off, cross off, cross off. Okay, now, what the lower extreme is, why do they call it lower extreme? Don't even ask. Guys, all this is the minimum and the max. And I am perfectly fine with you guys just referring to it as minimum and maximum. So, we found 5 numbers. You guys see them? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do you guys see those? Let's go back up to the learning target. Identify the 5-number summary. Guys, you just did the 5-number summary of these statistics, of this data. Okay? There they are. That's your 5-number summary. It is the minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper, and then the maximum. That is your 5-number summary. Now you use that 5-number summary to make your box and whisker plot. Okay? Now I want everybody to take note here. See how there are 5 dots on here? Those 5 dots represent the minimum, bang, right there. Here, let me do it like this. Let me write over top of it. This would be minimum. This would represent Q1. This would represent the median. This is going to represent Q3. And then this is going to be the max. So there's your 5-number summary. Okay? And they did it on a number line here. So the minimum was 0. And then it has everything else listed. How you do this, when you make one on your own, you're gonna do your minimum and maximum, and you're just gonna put all the numbers, Q1, Q3, and then the median, and then you always box in from Q1 to Q3. That's it. And sometimes you might see a line drawn through like this, through the median. Okay? And that's that, guys. That's all it is. You can see why it was called a box and whisker, because see, it's a box and then you got like whiskers. See them? That's why it was called that. And that's it, guys. That's all it is. It's not hard. It's just new. It's just different. Okay? Now, I want to talk about IQR real quick. What IQR is it is the difference between Q3 and Q1. Think about this for a second. Let's think about what the word is. Interquartile range. We know that just when we learned range earlier this year, we learned it as the difference between the maximum and minimum. Well, the interquartile range is the difference from Q1 to Q3. And since we just know that difference means minus, we do 5 minus 1, Q3 minus Q1, and we know that our IQR is 4. So we just did everything to do with it. Okay? Now the idea here with the box and whisker plot, the point of it, the whole thing is this. I'll do it in green. Okay, what you're gathering is when you do this, you're learning that when you break it up like this, it looks like this. That from minimum to Q1, that's 25% of your data. From Q1 to median, that's 25% of your data. From median to Q3, that's 25% of your data. And then from Q3 to max, that's 25% of your data. That's what a box and whisker plot's all about. So you can see right exactly from Q1 to Q3 exactly where if you fell into that middle 50%. Obviously the median is like the middle. You guys get these on your science tests, which I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about that tomorrow in class. But that's all it is. You've seen these before. Okay? And it just helps you identify where you're at on it. Okay, if you're down here, you're not doing too well. You didn't do too well on your test. Okay, if you went right here, okay, you're just above the middle. You're just above where everybody else is, around the middle. Okay? So let's go to the next page. I know I just threw a ton at you right there. And let's see if we can do one on our own now. Okay? Complete the 5-number summary. Okay. Well, I told you that in a box plot, that is always the minimum. So we know that's 3. We know that this one here is always the quartile 1 or the lower quartile. So that is 9. The median is always where this line's going through here, through the middle of the box, or somewhere near the middle of the box. That's going to be 12. The upper quartile is going to be 18. The maximum, or the upper extreme, if you want to call it that, is 21. Okay? And then remember, the interquartile range is the difference between Q3 to Q1. In other words, how far does the box span? How long is it, or whatever? And it's going to be 18 minus 9. Q3 minus Q1, which is 9. Okay? So there's your 5-number summary. So that's going right, relates directly to the box plot. Okay, here we go. The following list shows the number of wins that Clarice had in each of her 9 years as a bobsled racer. Okay? So the first thing you should always do whenever you're given a data like this, you always want to put them least to greatest. So let's do that now. 10, 11, looks like 13, 14. Cross these off. 13, 14. Next it looks like 16, right? 16, 17, what's next? 18, 20, and 21. Now remember, a little bit of a trick. Always go back and count your numbers to make sure you didn't miss one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're good. So now it's easy. You don't have to go searching through there. What is the minimum number of wins? Well, it's 10. What is the lower quartile? Oh, okay. So we got to do some work here. Okay. In order to ever be able to determine the quartiles at all, you must find the median first. You have to, because that tells you where the middle is. So here's how I would do this. Please watch. I go through here, and when I'm finding the median, I cross one time for median. So I cross off smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. There's my median, 16. Okay? Now, to find my lower and upper quartile, remember, that is the middle, or the median, of my first half, and then the quartile 3 would be the median of my second half, or my upper half of the data. So when I do this, what I do is I cross it, make an X then. So I cross off the smallest, the biggest. Since I have 2 in the middle, I draw a line in between, right? So now I got to find the mean. When there's 2 in the middle, you got to find the mean. So 11 plus 13 equals 24. We take 24 and divide it by 2 because there are 2 numbers. I know that my lower quartile is 12. Okay, let me write it down here. So we know lower quartile is 12. Now let's find the upper quartile. Cross off smallest, biggest. Oh, 2 in the middle. Do the same thing. 18 plus 20 equals 38. Divide that by 2. It's going to be 19. Okay, so we've found Q1, which is 12. We've found Q3, that is 19. We've found the minimum, which is 10. We just have to find the max. That's our 5-number summary, guys. 21. Okay. So what is the lower quartile? You can't do the lower quartile until you've found the median. So the median, we've done that, is 16. The upper quartile, 19. The maximum, 21. What you guys just did right there, again, the 5-number summary. Okay. That's it. All right. So now let me grab this and move this down so I can refer to it. I know this is my 5-number summary. Now remember, every time you ever want to do a box plot, you must do the 5-number summary. And all you got to do is go above your number line or below. It doesn't really matter. You could do your box plot either above it or below it. I'll do it above. And then you just put your dots on. So I know I got a minimum of 10, so I'm going to put a dot right there at 10. I know my quartile one's right here at 12. You want to make sure your dots stay kind of on the same plane, okay? Don't get them all crazy like up here, okay? Make sure they stay kind of on a line. Okay, 13, or the median then, I know is 16. Okay, I know that my Q3 is 19, and I know that my max is 21. Okay, now remember, when you're making your box and whisker plot, you take Q1 through Q3 and you make a box around it. And there you go. There's my box. Then you draw a line through your median, and then you just connect your whiskers. Or there you go. And there's your box and whisker plot, guys. Not that difficult, is it? I hope you don't think it is anyway. Okay? It's new. I told you it's new. But it's not. I don't think it's hard. It's just going to take some practice, that's all. But this is done. This box plot is all done. Okay? Another thing that box plots will do is they actually help you identify outliers. Okay? As I look at this right here, I'm not sure I would consider 10 or 21 an outlier. But your outlier will always be there or there, because that's obviously the minimum and maximum will usually be. But let's say I had a box plot like this. You don't have to draw this. Like that. This is my minimum. This is Q1. This is my median. This is Q3. And this is my max. Is there an outlier present? Absolutely. That's clearly an outlier there. Okay, so they help you to identify outliers. Let's go to the next page. Okay, do a couple of these. Which of the following sets of data values could represent the box and whisker plot below? Okay, so first thing I do is I go through here and I just make my number, or I find all my 5-number summaries. So I know my minimum is 3. I know that my Q1 is 9. I know that my median is 12. I know that my Q3 is 18, and I know that my maximum is 21. Okay, so I go through here. That one definitely has a max and a min of 21. They all do. Okay, so now we just got to determine which would it be. So they're already least to greatest for you. So maybe you just cross them, find the median. Okay, cross off smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. The median would be 11. Is the median 11 in this box plot? No, it is not. It's gone. Let's find the median here. Cross smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so we did get the median, right? Now we got to check Q1 and Q3. Okay, I would cross off here and here. There would be my Q1, 6. Is that what Q1 is? Not right. Okay, let's keep going here. Find the median first. Okay, so we got that right. Now let's check our Q1. Cross off. Oh, yes, that's our Q1. Let's check Q3. Cross off, cross off. 18. There we go. Bingo. We just did the minimum, 3. The maximum, 21. The median, 12. The Q1, 9. And the Q3, 18. So therefore the answer is C. Okay. Miss M, we'll say, drew a box and whisker plot to represent her students' scores on a math test. Okay. So you can see the scores. Here, this is a 17%. Nice job. Okay. You can see that about the middle of the class is a 70%, and the best person in the class got a 95. So where would you want to fall if you're one of these students? Well, obviously you'd love to be in this 25% section, right? That's the goal, because if you're scoring in that high, then you'd be in that grouping. It's kind of like when you guys go to the doctor, and you'll remember this from when you go to the doctor, and maybe they said, you know, you are in the 62nd or 65th percentile. You guys have heard these words, I think, percentile. And what that means is you are above average, because 50% would be average. That's the average height for your age. Okay, so that means 65th would be a little bit over average. You're taller than the same person or the same aged person. Okay? Well, this is kind of the same deal. Okay? If Jennifer scored an 85 on a test, that means she scored right here. She scored right on the third quartile. Right there on the third quartile. So right now she's doing well. She's right in that 25% of the people, right? Of the higher end of the class. So that means she is her and 25% of her other students are the best on the whole, the best out of everybody. Okay? So she did pretty well. There's 75% of the class did worse than her. Does that make sense? Okay? 75% of her classmates did worse than her because remember, every one of these is 25% of the data. 25, 25. So she's here, so that means she's better than this group, and this group. 75% better. So how her grade compares with the rest of the class? She's doing way above average. Because again, this was the average person. The average person got a 70%. Right? The middle person got a 70. Okay? So if you're getting above a 70, you're doing better than the average person in your class. Okay? The interquartile range here, let's figure that out real quick. Interquartile range, remember, is Q3 minus Q1. So that would be 85 minus 58, which is, let me do it real quick, 85 minus 58 is going to give us 27. 27, so that's the IQR there. Okay? Okay, this is just another one here. Here's your box and whisker plot. It wants to know the minimum number of text messages sent. Well, it looks like 2 was the minimum, so letter B. What is the number at the 50th percentile? See, this is what I'm talking about. 50th percentile. That means right in the middle. Well, we know that median means middle. So that means that this would be the 50th percentile. Okay? This would be the 25th percentile. This would be the 50th percentile. This would be the 75th percentile. And then the 99th percentile. Okay, remember there isn't a 0 or a 100th percentile. Okay? Between what two numbers does half the data lie? Right here. Between 9 and 14. Or I'm sorry, 8 and 14. Okay? Letter C. According to the plot shown, how many text messages are at the 75th percentile? So again, the 75th percentile would be 14. You guys all seeing how this works? Okay, percentiles. If I go back to here, this is the 25th percentile. This is the 50th percentile. This is the 75th percentile. So then this all the way here would be 99 percentile, and I guess this would be the 1 percentile. Okay? That's how that works. So whenever when you're thinking about your height, when they told you you're in the 98th percentile, 98th percentile, guys, if you were that person, that means you were almost one of the tallest people at your age right now. That's what it means. Okay, so just understand that these things got a real logical purpose. So if we're saying where's the 75th percentile, we know that would be 14 because that's the upper quartile or quartile number 3. Okay, we have some more here. Okay, here's what I want you guys to do for homework. I want you to pause this and I want you to do number 11 there. I want you to make this box and whisker plot. Go ahead and do that. Okay? All right. So I know that I need to, first of all, we always list them least to greatest. So 97, 98. Okay, let me cross them off so I can make sure I keep track of them. 100, 103, 103, 105, 110, 112, 117, and 129. Okay, so remember, whenever you're doing a box plot, guys, the first thing you got to do is you got to do your 5-number summary. You have to, and you need to know those 5-number summaries, guys. You got to learn them. Okay, we know that it's minimum. We know that it is Q1. We know that it is median. We know it is Q3, and we know it is maximum. Okay, got to be able to. You do it in that order too, just because they're going to go that way, left to right, on your box. Okay, so we know obviously the minimum and the maximum, always the easiest two to identify. Okay, and then from here, now you remember you always got to find median first, before you can do your quartiles, because you got to figure out where the middle number is and then go from there. So we go ahead, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, bang. There is our median, 105. Okay, so now we got to find the median of the first half, and we got to find the median of the second half. So I cross off smallest, biggest. Uh-oh, I got 2 in the middle. Remember, don't do this and circle that. Okay, if you have 2 in the middle, you need to find the mean of the 2 numbers in the middle. So again, we would do 98 plus 100, which is 198, and then we're going to divide it by 2. We're going to find the mean, which is 99. So I know quartile 1 is 99. Let's do quartile 2, or 3, I mean. Cross off smallest, biggest. Again, we have 2 in the middle, so that's going to be 112 plus 117. Okay, 112 plus 117 is 229. Okay, and then we need to divide that by 2. So 229 divided by 2 is going to give me 114.5. And that's my quartile 3. Now I'm all ready to roll. Let's do our thing. Okay, so I do my minimum. I know that that's 97. Okay, guess we got to make a number line. Might be beneficial to us. Okay. Okay. Now, you could go from 97 to 129 by ones. I'm not going to. I'm gonna go by a couple, just to save a little bit of space. So 103. Oops, not. I meant 100. Sorry. 100. Maybe you did it different. That's okay if you did. 106. 109. 112. 115. 118, 121, 124, 127, and then 130. Okay, so now we're ready to put on our numbers. So I go to my minimum, okay, 97. My maximum is 129. Put my maximum on there. My Q1 would be 99, so about right there. My median would be 105, so about right there. Okay, and then my Q3 would be 114.5, so almost 115, so about right there. And there we go. There's my 5-number summary. Now we just go ahead and make a box around Q1 to Q3. Just try to be as neat as you can, and then connect your whiskers, right? All right, and there you go. And you can get an idea of what's going on here, as far as if you know you got some sort of snowfall, where it would fall with regards to the snowiest cities in the U.S. Okay, would this be an outlier? Yeah, I would say yes. Definitely an outlier. I mean, they're all right around 100. I mean, even 117 is getting kind of a lot, but then 129, that's 12 away. That's definitely an outlier. Do you see how long that whisker got? So, and if I would have went by ones, it'd be even larger. It'd be even larger, that whisker. So that's that. You can practice on more of these if you'd like. But this, it's new, but it's all about this, guys. That's all it is. Let's quickly find the IQR, actually. IQR, that's going to be 114.5, remember, because that's my Q3, minus 99. And then whatever that would give you. I'm not going to do the math, but you get the point, I think. So that's that. That's all it is. So not difficult, but definitely new. All right, see you guys.